Alright, welcome. This is Jack X from Jack X Offsuit Poker. And this is my beginning blog, just like every other one else there. I'm either gonna apparently be a successful blogger or be a successful poker player. Luckily, unlike most of those folks, I have a real day job, so I don't actually have to be successful at this. But hey, what I really want to do here is I want to use this, blog or whatever to kind of go through you know, my learning of poker is a means to help me improve my poker skills, and let's be honest, just not fucking suck at poker. So my goal here is, I'm gonna start off in the little small micro no limit hold'ems. As I up my bankroll, I'll be moving my way up the tables, and I just want to record these videos, be going over through my hands. Each session I kind of hope to have a couple uh, tips or rules or whatever that I've learned or am working by that session. So with this initial session, here we go. This was my first time off, real time off at the tables. We're going to be playing some 10 cent, 20 cents no limit hold'em in one of the private clubs on Poker Bros. So with that, we'll kind of hop right in. Obviously, we can already see here with the stats. This was a good session for me. We played for about 33 minutes. We got about just under 40 hands in, and we came out. We were able to double our money. So we'll walk through some of those hands and see why they turned out the way they did. So first hand we're gonna get through right here is going to be us under the button so we're gonna be under the button with ace nine offsuited. So obviously, we get here, we can see we're under a button. It's gonna check around to us, and so now I'm kind of in the spot, and I think I am going to try to be playing somewhat GTO during this series. I think we have I think we have some flexibility here, but obviously under the button in the best spot, it really behooves us to bet this and kind of rep a bigger hand. So that's what we should see happen here. We're going to put out a nice little 3x Bex. We'll get raised, actually. So that will then, they'll fold around to us. Or we'll get the call, and then it'll come back around to us. We'll go three-way best way to the flop, which is going to come ace, queen, ace. Obviously, ace, queen, ace, two-tone clubs. Obviously, this is a pretty great spot for us. First kind of real hand in, we're already hitting trips. So then it's going to try to figure out how we're going to want to play this, right? We are the small stack at the table, so this is an easy double up opportunity for us here if we can play it the right way and not scare everybody off right away. Oops, sorry. So action checks around to us, and my decision here is I want to put out a little bit, but I don't want to scare folks away. Initially just throw out, hey, I have the killer hand, so I put out just a small little two big blind bet, and I get I think we'll see here, I get two calls. And he actually re-raises me, so I love to see that in this spot. Though, I mean, it can be a little scary. Obviously he probably hit something here. Something like ace queen, and we're just flat out smoked here. Anything below ace nine, we're good. Ace nine, we're splitting it. So we have some good chances here. And then obviously, for just 60 more cents, we're gonna call this and see what's going on. We'll get a fold here, so we'll go there, and we come to the turn, which is going to be that 9, giving us the full house. So at this point, we're feeling pretty good. Let's be clear. We at this point, we are either completely in charge or we are so behind an ace queen that, there's just nothing we can do here. I'm kind of rolling out queen queen as, we didn't really see the pre-flop re-raise. So we're really just afraid here of ace queen. So action then is going to come around. Well, action is going to come around to us at a 255 bet. We love to see that, so we're going to call into that. So we just hit our flop here. Then the 8 comes on the river. So once again, as long as we weren't, this doesn't change too much. We were either already losing to that ace queen, or that ace 8 just got our opponents in for even more, and we're going to be able to get them really hooked on it. This time, though, once again, Coffee is kind of taking the lead here in this last round. He's going to go all in. It's kind of a snap call from us, obviously. And then that ace 3 against ace 9 looks beautiful for us. He only hit that, trip on the flop, which really kind of probably vested him in this hand. And we're going to be able to just straight up double up on this hand, which is a great start to our initial run here in the micro no limit hold'em hands. So next up, we're going to kind of move ahead to hand 9. This is where we're going to see us go in with queens. So we'll get here in 1 second. Alright, here we go. Hand number 9. So load up. So this time we are in the hijack. So action's going to come around to us here in a second. It's going to limp around to us. So here, pretty obvious choice. I mean, GTO obviously says we are pretty much raising this. Any position is just going to be how much are we going to raise it here. And I want to see some action. I don't want to scare everyone off. And being new to these tables, I'm not really quite sure on the sizing here. So I think we go out here with the 3x1 just to kind of, get people invested, get a little people in, and see if maybe we can get some re-raises, some 3 bets to which we can even 4 bet, because we are now, so now we get 3 callers, we go into the flop 3-way best way. And we can see we are actually now in position with the button having folded, so we're with the flop coming 3 jack 8. I feel like we're in a really good place here, right? Unless someone was literally just sleeping on those pocket jacks. I mean, then or pocket 8s. Pockets are a little bit of a concern, but I don't know. I don't think at this point. I don't think anyone else has anything that beats us. So I think we're good. Maybe we're up against some lower pocket pairs, probably some ace kings, some ace queens. Hopefully like a king jack or ace jack, which has us in a really good place and has some people vested here. So action's then going to come around to us once again. So here we're going to go out with a little bit of a bet. Just a little 25 bet to kind of test the water, see if anyone wants to re-raise us, and kind of gauge maybe they have a better hand here. And I think this is going to be one of the common themes, that we're going to use a lot, kind of bet sizing to kind of see how other people respond, to see whether or not they might have a better hand, and just kind of gauge where our hand is in the overall pot position here. So 2 callers, loving it, right? This is we're just kind of basically filling up the pot at this point. Now, the 6 of diamonds does come on the turn. That gives us a little bit of scare because of the potential flush here, right? Obviously, we missed out on the flush possibilities here, but someone else now has a flush draw. So at this point, I think we actually even want to bet a little bit bigger. I think we're still, looking good. Maybe pocket 6s was a little bit scary. That's something someone could have limped in with, but when it checks around once again, I think we're in a good place. And I think at this point we want to actually start charging people for their draws, because that's the main thing we're worried here. We have the queen, so it's a little bit of a blocker to the flush, but we still want to be afraid. So we're going to charge out $1.45, basically half pot, half size pot here, to kind of see where we're at, get a couple calls here, and just start to fill up that pot. Then the river's gonna come the jack, So the one scary part here, when we talked about, we were loving that ace jack, king jack, even queen jack, right? Would have been great for us, because those people have been vested. Now, sadly, their draw did hit, and so now we gotta be a little bit worried about trips here. So we're gonna kind of see what happens around. Once again, it's gonna check around. And so at that point, we know we're pretty good for the session, so we can exercise a little. So we are going to exercise a little bit of pot control here, just in case someone was trying to come in with that, check raise on us, and we don't want to just be totally lost out on the thing. So we decide to check it around, and then we can see we are good. We did have the one opponent on the pocket 10, so we were right. One of our opponents was on the lower pocket pairs, and the other villain was on that flush draw. So it was very nice to see that didn't hit while also having the better pair there. So nice little $3.62 bump us up, and at this point we can see we're now actually up to $20. So we have doubled our initial buy-in of $10. So at this point we're looking pretty good, and we're gonna keep moving on. We're through two real big hands in, we doubled up, and we can kind of keep moving on. This was actually the 10th hand, so now we're going to move on to the 11th hand, or sorry, the 17th hand, where we're going to look at, an ace 10 off-suited play. And so once again, we're going to kind of look at this one and see how it goes down. So we can see here we are going to be in the big blind. So, it's going to kind of put us out of position for most of the hands, but not a bad place to be in on the pre-flop, especially with these tables that don't allow straddling. So we will be getting final action here. So we hit the, ace 10 offsuited. Pretty good hand here. And you know what, this is one of those ones where I think, especially with how we've been playing so far, we're kind of the big stack on the table. We have the opportunity to really rep a big set here, and every other time so far when we've, kind of put in some bigger bets, we've usually had some good nuts here, jacks, ace kings, other ones. So we're going to go ahead and, come in here and put in a nice little 4x bet, I think. Which, thinking back and kind of how this, at this basically 4 big blind, I don't think is enough. I think really when we want to be repping the bigger hands, we're going to be want to put in, like the 5, at least a 5x minimum, maybe like $1 to really rep that bet. So we'll see if anyone here will pick up our action. And then we're going to get 3 ways. We're going to go to the flop 3-way best way, and we can see it comes 8, 9, 10. Dual tone with 2 spades. So we don't hit any of that potential flush draw, but we do have top pair, top kicker. And we will be first to act. So this one we're going to throw out a little of a continuation bet to kind of see where we're at, see how people are responding to this. Hopes maybe some other people hit a lower pair, maybe someone's on a draw that we can start charging them for, and kind of see where this takes us. So there, we now hit the turn of a 9, pairing the board. So, one of the obvious things we did need to be a little bit worried about here was any sort of straight draws. Obviously, a 9 does not help that, and it gives us a rainbow, so a little bit worried so far our flush draw is not hit. So feeling pretty good about our general position here. And so we can kind of see where we're at. At this point, we are actually going to, I don't recall, so let's see what we do. Put out a $1 bet. So basically you can see there we put out just a little bit over a 25% bet. I think what we want to do here is we want to scare off anybody on the draw. And we want to basically keep those people within the lower pairs, or the ace king, ace queen, ace jack, or any of those combos that haven't hit yet. Keep them in the hand. So But sadly, we don't get any colors, and we end up buying the pot here, which in and of itself, not necessarily a bad thing. Another little $2.22. That's basically 20 big blinds, so not a bad place for us to be in as we continue to move on into the next ones. As we can see, not all hands are wins here. We kind of have a little ups and downs as we'll kind of miss the flops, try and make some plays. They won't play out. Not any major misses. Here we're going to come to the next hand, which is our hand 25. We're going to be in the hijack, and we're going to have that 10 jack spades. So, not a bad hand. I think the way we've been running, and at this point you can see, we are the biggest stack at the table, though we do have a little bit of competition with Ace of Beards here. I think the way we've been playing so far, we can rep this as a little bit of a bigger hand and try to get some action going. And then, that way if the, flush hits, we'll be in a good position. Or, if one of our overcards hit, we'll be in a pretty decent position. So, action folds to us. We're going to place out just a little bitty tiny bet here. Well, a little bit of a tiny bet, 5x, try to basically rep some of those bigger hands we had before, see if we can get some action here. And so we'll have one fold, and then we'll have a call, and then we'll basically see what this other person wants to do here. So we're going to go heads up to the flop, which is 3-3-7 monotone. Doesn't connect to us in any way at all. But also with the hand I was repping, pretty much basically, says we're still in a really great position. Basically over, kings, aces, queens maybe. So checks to us. So we're on continuation bet here. Once again, we're going to put in about a 75% pot bet here. At this point, to really just kind of gauge where he's at, figuring if he, for some reason came in with 3-7, he flopped the boat, he's probably going to re-raise us here. So this kind of lets us judge the waters. We get the call, so we're not feeling a bad place. Now, this king on the turn really starts to scare us up. Because that either really tells our, that either really strengthens our story we're telling, but obviously, if the opponent had anything, they've just hit there, and we're now in a really bad position as we didn't get any of that, potential backdoor flush draw. So we're really going to have to basically at this point take it, take the pot, we're going to have to take it. So, I'm going to put out a pot size bet here and basically see if I can just take it at this point. I've been repping those, higher over pairs, aces, kings, ace king. So that's a potential set I just flopped. So the goal here is hopefully to take this down and basically take the pot, which you can see we did do. So we're going to continue on to our next hand, which is going to be our 29th hand. This one, we're going to have a king 6 in the button. So, in most other positions, this would be, a fold, no issues at all. But here on the button, we have some choices, so we're going to be able to maybe kind of rep it like we have a little something, especially with how we've been playing. We can see that we still continue to have the biggest stack of everyone at the table, and we can kind of push people around and play a little bit more aggressively and see how people want to respond to that, and maybe just take down a couple more pots, pre-turn, pre-river, after we got a couple dollars in there, and just continue to grind our stack. So it gets to us, and this is where, one of my rules I've really been trying to work on, and this is one of our lessons for today, is, this concept of something called raise first in, which basically means if action has come around to you, basically everyone has limped or folded in actions to you, if you're going in, you should basically raise or fold. There's very few cases in which you should actually limp. Now, being on the button with a gross hand, that's one of those cases you can probably really think about it. And I think we're going to talk about some other rules to think about in that case. But We really want to basically, if you're going to be in the hand, bet it, right? Don't just lag it and, really kind of tell the story you want to tell with the hand you have. We want to tell folks, hey, we've got a decent pair here. We're going to raise it up. If you want to play some poker, against this nice hand, you're going to have to pay for it. And so that's what we do. We'll see how many people we pick up along the way. Now we do get re-raised here, and we can see that's a 4x re-raise. So he is kind of telling us a little story here that, hey, you're not the only one with a hand here. So that's kind of, not what we love to have seen. Something like a min raise here would have been, not too bad. But, a 3x raise, he probably definitely has something. We probably need to figure, pocket tens or above, any of the combo of non-suited, ace, king, queen, jack, tens, or maybe some suited connectors on the lower range if he's maybe wanting to bluff it a little bit. So it's going to fold back around to us. At this point, we are going to call it, basically, maybe we could have probably folded there, but that would have been a little bit obvious. So we wanted to at least go to the flop, see what happens. It comes jack 7-3, monotone. We completely missed for our hand, but we were repping that decent hand, so we could kind of bluff here and make it seem like we did get part of that ace, part of that spade draw. The only potential issue here is if the villain here does have the nut flush, then we are obviously playing into his hands, but we'll kind of see what happens, see what he wants to do here. He's going to check, which is interesting, So the expectation here is he's probably either check raising or he just completely missed the flop and is going to see what we're going to do. So this is one of those times where I think we can even put a little bit of a bet to see if he, check raises us. And that's actually what I'm trying to do here, but I actually run out of time and misclick the thing. And so we end up checking instead. Now, the jack pairs the board. Once again, I think this is probably, well, I'm not even really sure whose hand this is better for, But at this point, I figured to just go for it. It checks around to us. I'm going to try to just buy the pot at this point, throw out a half bet, and able to take it down and take a nice little profit of $1.13 or roughly 11 big blinds. So continuing our grind along, next hand we're going to look at here is going to be hand 30, 9-8 off suited, coming as a jack X off poker blog. Of course we're going to play a lot of offsuit nonsense. No, we won't. We'll actually be trying to play some good stuff. But at this point, we can see I am definitely, big stack at the table. I've gotten in a couple little scuffles with Ace of Beers and every other folks. So I am feeling I can play a little bit aggressively and, when needed, buy my way out of bad situations when flops don't hit. Probably not the best attitude to be taking, but yeah, it's where we are. And, this is what happens when you get big stacks and you don't know what you're doing, I'm sure. So it's going to come around to us. We're going to be in the hijack. So at this point, we've had one limper, one fold. We're going to come in and we're actually going to try to give this one a little tiny, just min bet. Actually limp in and see what happens here. I know, the rule is, no limping. I think every once in a while you can kind of mix it in. So that's what we're going to do here. We do get raised, which gets interesting for us. So we're going to basically come along for this ride. And this goes to one of my other rules I want to talk about. If you're going to limp, on the few occasions you are now, this could be a horrible rule. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. But basically, one of my rules is if you're going to limp along, always be willing to defend your limp, right? So we got raised here on the limp. If we just throw this away, then we're just basically telling this dude he can just abuse us, and we cannot take that. So we need to at least call here and defend our limp and put us in at least a somewhat of a good position, hopefully, coming into this flop. So flop's going to come king 9-8 monotone. We do hit mid pair with crap kicker, but we've got the flush draw happening even though. And if we look at there, we've got the queen, jack 10. We've only got 3 spades that are better than us of the 6 of the 9 that are available. Only 3 beat us, so we're not in a bad place here if we can hit a spade on either the turn or the river. So it's going to come around and check down to us. And this is where we're going to go ahead and put out a little bit of a bet. We can put out about a half pot size bet here. And either take it down, sadly we don't get any interest, so we do take it down, getting a nice little, 75-cent win there, roughly about 8 big blinds. So this is where we're going to come down to our last hand here. And, since not every hand can be winners, we do have to, look at some where we don't do so good. Give me 1 second, I actually got lost in my recordings here, so we'll get this to the right spot here in a moment. Alright. And this is where we're actually going to look at Jack 4 suited. We're under the gun, so this isn't a great place to be in. 9/10 of the time we probably should just be folding this. But once again, I kind of, we're going to kind of limp in here and gonna see what's happening. This is basically, at this point, we know this is our last couple hands, so we're going to see what's up. And, if anything comes down, we'll actually plan to just, call and at least defend our limp once again. If we're going to limp, we got to at least defend it, although we really shouldn't be limping. And that's one of the other things I should really talk about, our VPIP at the end of this game, and at the end of this session was about 48% of hands we were in, which is probably very high. At one point we did kind of get the big stack, and we were starting to, just apply some pressure, see what we could hit on some flops, see if we could get some action. But overall, definitely in way too many hands. I should have never called this. Now, the flop does come, and once again, it's one of those ones, I should have never limped in, and I should have never defended this, and we can just see the compounding mistakes here, because now we hit both the potential flush draw and the potential backdoor straight draw. And so obviously now we're starting to feel a little pot stuck. Action's going to check around to us. And this is where we're going to just check it, see what folks are going to want to do. Next hand is going to come to 3, and so of course we've now hit both of one of our outs on both our flush draw and on our straight draw. The 5 giving us a straight, any spade giving us the flush draw. So we're looking pretty good here, and this is where we're going to put out, I guess at this point we are going to put out a little, probably should have been a little bit more aggressively and just tried to buy the pot at this point. But since they checked around last time, we're feeling okay, so we put out a half-size bet. We get called, and so we go heads up to the river, which does come to 2. We completely whiff on both sides. We needed that 5 to hit that gut shot straight draw. We get the 2, so we are SOL there, and we miss on the flush. So at this point, that 2 doesn't give us anything that we can rep here, so I don't see any point in us being able to actually buy this pot, or risk trying to buy this pot, getting called and having just 0 showdown value here. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna check it. I don't think we have it. We might as well just have folded it, but it is what it is. And we can see here we lost to the ace high. She was basically, didn't really have much, and we probably could have pushed her off if we really had tried there. And that was probably just this whole hand was a mistake that we could have turned into a nice little win to end up at 25, a complete 1.5x, bust up instead. We're gonna, basically end up about $13 up overall from this session. And our total VPIP is going to be just at about, I think it was, we'll see here, 47% presence in hands that we played at the flop. So all in all, not a bad session. We played for just about 33 minutes, and our earnings was about 33 cents a minute, coming over to just under just about $14.33. And that is our first run at growing from a little tiny microfish into hopefully a shark that swims in the ocean. Or that we get our ADD kicks in and we get distracted before we lose too much money on all of this. Anyways, that's today's session. If you guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to be coming back with a lot more of these, so I definitely want to encourage you guys all to like, subscribe, do whatever, help me make money to pay for this poker stuff, because I'm sure not all sessions are going to go this good. But thanks, you guys, and hope you guys have a great one. Bye.